Hello, everyone. This is Winston Wilson with the Courageous Creativity Show. We have been doing this show for almost 8.5 years now. And it started off in my phone, and now we've got phenomenal guests like the one we have here today. And this is the amazing Victoria Allen. I'm going to let her introduce herself a little bit, but I'll just tell you from where I've known her. Her and I have had a chance to interact with some different plays that's been around here in Atlanta. So we've actually acted together, I think, on multiple occasions. But I've seen her in other amazing things all around the city, and you will be so thankful and excited about our conversation today. So, Victoria, welcome to the Courageous Creativity Show. We are so glad to have you.
Oh, thank you, Winston. I'm glad to be here. Thank you for inviting me.
That's awesome. So we're going to do a couple of things. We're going to introduce yourself, but before, and one of the ways we're going to introduce yourself or get the audience to get to know you a little bit is by asking you a rapid fire question.
Okay.
Now, if you've seen some of the other podcasts, you might know what this one is, but you may not know as well. So here it is for those who are listening today. So tell us about what is your favorite show or theater performance?
Oh, favorite show or theater performance. That's a tough one, but I gladly I can think of possibly a few.
Okay,
And this could be from anything from Broadway to like off Broadway.
that's right.
All right, great. I would have to say seeing Heather Headley as Nala in The Lion King on Broadway was a stunning
Oh,
performance to me. I got a chance to see that show, and when I saw her, I was rather little, but yet it was still like her performance was just so good. It made quite an impression on me at a young age.
oh, that is so awesome. So what about a movie?
Oh, movies, the favorite. Oh my goodness, you're having me go through the whole movie library here because I've seen so many movies. So, what would be my favorite movie moment? Let's see. Actually, I'll start with something recent. I'll just say one that was much recent. If anyone has seen the film Obsession, then you'll know what scene I'm talking about.
I've
But
heard about this movie. It's like a movie that's made a whole bunch of like $100 million or something somewhere.
Yes, and being talked about on YouTube, pretty much everywhere now.
Wow.
And so my favorite moment in that film was the date scene between the main characters and Nikki, who plays the female lead in the film. The actress that plays her is so good. She um is on a date with this guy named Bear, and he asked her a question about her father having cancer because she told him at some point in the film that her dad had cancer, and he asked, when you told me that your dad had cancer, was that not true? And
Wow.
she just went from smiling to
Oh, don't
almost
spoil it too
like
much, Victoria.
I won't. And actually it's a clip.
Oh,
So
got
everybody
you.
sees it. But it was just the way that she responded without spoiling anything was just such a powerful moment because it went from her just being cheerful to being like, oh my goodness, what am I going to say on this? Like, I've been caught and I know I've been caught, but at the same time, that's not what matters to me in this moment. That's what it felt like her face was just going through a range of feelings of what she would want to say to answer that question.
That's
So that
awesome.
was my favorite moment.
That's awesome. So we've been in a couple of plays together and we've known each other for a while, but I don't really know much about you. I know that you were part of an inspirational graphic novel, but that's about the only thing I know. So tell the audience a little bit about your background, and what introduced you to the world of acting.
Okay, well, that is definitely a interesting story, even when I think about it myself. So I'll give just a little background. So when I was in middle school, that's when I really got involved in theater because I my parents, they realized that I had such a love and passion for movies and also figuring out how the storytelling aspect of it worked in films. And so they were like, okay, what can we do to get our daughter involved in something that
That's
is
awesome.
similar to this? And there was a drama club at my middle school. And so I got involved with that, started off with like doing helping out with backstage and helping out with like I also did art. So if they needed like any like posters or just like drawings for certain shows and whatnot, I was their girl on that.
Well, wait a
And
minute. Does that mean you have, like, a graphic designer kinda background? Is that what you're saying?
oh, no, no, this was middle school. This it
Okay.
was very much elementary style, like, drawings, but however, people would, they would tell me and also tell other people that, "This girl's drawings is not, like, just stick figures or anything like that."
That's
So,
awesome.
that's how I was able to do that, but it wasn't like I was doing graphic design or anything like that, not then. But, but then I realized watching the shows and the plays going on, I really enjoyed the acting and the process of it all, especially seeing how it worked working in backstage. So I wanted to get involved. So I started auditioning for my school plays in middle school, got into one before I was officially graduated out of there and went into high school. But when I, after doing my first show in middle school, I was like, okay, this, I feel something amazing about doing this that it's like, it almost felt kind of like innate. And I was like, okay, I want to keep doing this. How do I keep doing this? So however, it kind of went on a little pause when I
Mhm.
got into high school because of certain information that was not given to everyone at the time.
Oh.
So, when I got into high
Where
school,
did
I
you go
was,
to did you grew up here in Georgia?
oh, yes.
Okay.
I grew up here in Lawrenceville, Georgia. I went to Collins Hill High School.
You can't really tell, sometimes you can tell very easily someone where they're from, but can't really tell where you're from, so that's why I asked you a little bit about that.
Yeah.
I'm like, "Victoria's from where?" I was like, "I don't know exactly." You went to University of Georgia too, didn't you?
Yes, I went to school at the University of Georgia. I minored in theater there.
And what was your main thing that you did there?
You mean my major?
Mhm.
My major was in psychology, and really, I felt like that intertwined well with theater and
Mhm.
film in general, so I was already on board when I learned about that in high school.
Wow. Let me ask you a question, and this is gonna be a pretty tough question, Victoria, so I hope
Ooh,
you're ready for this. Tell
alright.
us about so far in your in your creativity path,
Mhm.
a moment where you were giving a were you given a moment where you said, "I have to muster courage to overcome this?" So whether it was something that happened directly to you or to someone else, uh, share with the audience a moment like, something happened and it ain't right, and I gotta put it together and I gotta get beyond it. Tell us about that.
Okay, well, I won't mention any, like, any actual specific theaters, it more so was something that I just noticed over time while I was involved with acting. So, there was, a how can I say, a theater that I really did want to get involved with, but I went to see their shows first to see, like, how they kind of were. But it turns out they were also connected with a bunch of other theaters. It was almost like a whole on theater collective.
Mm,
But, the thing was is that when I saw the shows that were being done there, I was starting to realize that they were pretty much like, not that the shows were the same old, but it just seemed like the roles were not that diverse, not
wow.
many, like, how can I say, they were very much, may I say just,
Sure.
okay.
Mhm.
So it was very much, Caucasian based
Oh,
stories, and not that those stories aren't important, they are, and there are definitely some good ones, but it just felt like there weren't even any rooms for in those shows for characters of color or people like say African Americans, Asians, Indian, anything like that, any of us in there. And I was kind of like, okay, what's going on here? Because it's like I'm very well aware there are people that of color that I know that definitely want to be involved in theater and in things like this. And as inclusive as it seems like you were presenting that to me and to people coming to see your show, it just felt like that's not what we're seeing here.
Wow.
And so at the time, it was like I could say I sort of asked someone that worked there about that, and they didn't really have much of an answer for me at the time.
Wow. So what happened after what happened next?
Well, nothing, it was nothing grandiose, but I realized to myself that it's like, okay, I wish that there were more stories. I started realizing within myself that I wish that there were more stories that involved us. And it doesn't just have to be like stories that just consisted of just people of color or just a specific group of people of color, but probably more of like a mixture.
Mhm.
And and over time, I started coming down to the realization that not only do I want to see that, I want to see more stories where it's like we all are intertwined and intermingling with each other, because that to me is what the world is. It's like it's not just consistent of one race or two races or anything like that. There's so many of us and we all have different stories to share and to give that could become stories presented in plays.
Mhm.
And so over time, I tried to look for those kinds of like plays or even film projects where it wasn't just like something so generic or just seemed like it was only for a certain type of actor.
Wow. Wow. It sounded like you obviously had a reaction and felt a certain way to all of that was occurring. Um,
Yes.
it's interesting to me, Victoria, because you're right. All of our stories are real, and
Mhm.
all of the stories that are what some people deem as historical theater, they're there. But it sounds like for you, and probably for me too, I've
Mhm.
because I've been to a lot of all historical theater shows, is I got energized about seeing a show about something that I've never heard of before.
Really?
Yeah, like if it's a whole new topic or a whole new thing, I'm more apt to say, I want to go see that versus saying, oh, I want to go see something that was produced for the hundredth or thousandth time. Like I know it's a good show, right? So say I don't want to pick any name of any show that's existing out there in the history of shows, but I see it all the time. Like, hey, come see this show, and I'll see it if Victoria's in it. but but otherwise than that, I'm like, I don't want to. How many times can I see the same thing?
Right.
And especially in these days where our world is um, got a lot of things. And when it comes to
Yes.
diversity, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. There's a real war on our stories. The stories of all of us, whether Black stories or Native American or Asian, pick your group of people. And
Mhm.
it's kind of a historical precedent that once one group of people feel threatened by the changing of their demographic, that they fight and they fight to restore it. And one of the ways they do it is by culture. And it's
Yeah.
crazy because the United States has one of the best culture. You and I, we come from a group of people where our culture was totally stripped from us. And now we got like the one of the most well-known, if not the most well-known culture in the planet Earth. And I mean black people in America
Mhm.
culture. You know. Tell me about your mentors that you've had over the most recent time. Tell me about anyone that's inspired you when you're going about yourself as an actor.
Okay, well, in all honesty, you would I would have to say you have became one of them, so
Oh,
thank you very
thank
much.
you. Thank you. Thank you. That was not a setup, everyone, in the audience. That was
No, it was.
it just was not, and I appreciate that. And sometimes it's I'm very thankful to hear that. And
Alright.
sometimes it's just tough because you don't never know, you nor I know what or if we're making any impact on anybody else. Who else? Who else is someone that's given you?
Okay, well, I would probably have to say more so in spirit because I didn't really meet them, so I can't say I had a chance to. Now, probably one I have met, but I'll just start with the ones that have kind of influenced me throughout the years. So, one of my um, better influences in acting was definitely James Earl Jones, which if
Oh.
I'm sure a lot of people know that name. And what influenced me about him was the fact that his acting was so, even though it was pretty much like he seemed like more of just the hard up, always in control type of character that he played, it still felt like he had a lot of versatility in his acting, whether it was for drama or even in comedy. So it wasn't just like he was always just playing one thing. And also at times it seemed like there was always something deeper to the characters that he played, like in Claudine or
Oh, yeah.
uh, Welcome Home, Roscoe Jenkins.
That's
That was
right.
a comedy.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah,
so it's
yeah, you got me thinking about him in one of the roles that doesn't get any recognition whatsoever.
oh, which one?
And this was in a movie that was in the early '80s called Conan the Barbarian.
Oh yes, I love that one.
Yes, he was in it, and he was so menacing.
Yes.
Even though he wasn't like he wasn't loud, he wasn't overacting, he wasn't screaming, but every time he got on screen, it was like he was the screen. like,
Yes, he
like he owned the moment. And I think it doesn't get any notoriety because it was like one of Arnold Schwarzenegger's first roles, and he wasn't particularly good in it. But James Earl Jones in that movie,
Mhm.
oh gosh, it was amazing.
Yeah, and it was like there was so much truth to everything he was saying, and he believed it, even if it sounded just awful.
so awesome. So here we go. So here's rapid fire number two for you.
Alright.
Um, tell us of a tell us of a most recent event or initiative or project you were involved in that brought you a whole lot of joy.
Okay. Initiative or project. Let's see. I would have to say there was I was a part of the Vidalia Theater Company that did a collection of 10-minute plays called Winter's Yield. And what's interesting about the Vidalia is that they do these shows and where they do multiple 10-minute plays, and they all are based on a theme, like one theme for each time they do it. And
Oh,
so for that one, I was in a 10-minute play where it was just about two best friends trying to board the plane. However, they are having a little trouble because of makings of their own, but yet they're trying to put it on the people at the airport. And
oh,
so, but
wow.
what I loved about it was that even though, because it was, we both were two Black girls in that play, and we were able to just like give whatever shenanigans that we wanted in that show and not be penalized for it. Nothing really actually happened to our characters, or at least not till after the ending. We didn't see anything happen to us.
Wow, that's interesting. Tell me, this is kind of an aside from just your work as a creative. What is it something that you look in the world these days, like right now, and it kind of breaks your heart, or you wish there was more of something? It doesn't have to be like a tangible thing, but just more of something you see in the world, something that's breaking your heart when you look at the world these days.
That is such a good question. I would have to say the strong, some people would say epidemic, but the whole situation of so many people in the world feeling this loneliness
Mhm.
in the world because they're finding it hard to be able to connect to one another or to be able to even just talk in normal conversations with one another. And it really, that really breaks my heart because it's like that's us as human beings. We are very much pe- creatures of where we do want to find connection. We do want to be able to interact with people, whether it's for a certain purpose or another. But to hear how many people are just suffering from just feeling so alone, feeling like they don't have anyone to talk to, reach out to, or anyone that's willing to reach out to them. It breaks my heart to hear about that. And also hearing how some of those people that have been dealing with that end up dead. Like,
Mhm.
it's just, it really does break my heart. And so, and also me being a psychology major, I definitely have studied a lot in that area. And actually, maybe that's why a part of me, if I do get a chance to, would want to be like a counselor, and help people process their feelings and the thoughts that they feel from the pain that they feel of being lonely, because it's something that it just feels like it's taken out so many people way too much, especially young people.
Yeah.
And that really shouldn't be something that they have to think about day after day when they already have enough stuff to think about in the world, just trying to survive and thrive.
Isn't that so fascinating? We live in this world where we're supposedly have so much potential connectivity with each other, right? We have so many means where one can connect with another person. But you're
Mhm.
right, this epidemic of loneliness, and it seems like it runs across different groups. It runs across younger people, but there's older people who are faced with it. I've heard a lot of it associated with men of all kinds.
Mhm.
It and, you know, it's a really debilitating thing, right? When someone's in prison, well, the biggest thing they can give you or the harshest penalty they can give you in prison is what? Solitary confinement.
Mm.
Because I believe that human beings, like, if we don't connect with each other, we start to but it's not how we're wired to be apart from one another. And
Mhm.
it can I think it can drive us actually, it can affect us mentally in a very significant way if we're not connecting with each other. And it's so fascinating you say that because, man, Victoria, we can connect with people all over the world, and it's
Yeah.
still, an epidemic of loneliness.
Yes. It it seems confusing, doesn't it? But really, in all honesty, that's the interesting thing about it, is that even though we are living in a very much connected world, whether it's through our computers, our phones, and social media and
Mhm,
everything, it still is like there's nothing at the end of it all. It feels like it's nothing like actually being physically with the person, physically talking to a person, versus when you're just like we are right now on the screen, just chatting
mhm.
with each other. But then again, we have met each other in person before.
Yeah.
But for some people that have not, and the only time that they have chatted with people was online, there is still a disconnect to
Mhm.
that.
I think you're giving me this thesis that someone can do for their doctoral thing. Is
Oh.
that it won't be me. But and this is the theory, is that people going to theater together and
Mhm.
watching someone on the stage interact has some kind of psychological imprint on us every time we go to see a theater production.
Mhm.
I don't know if it abates loneliness or eliminates it, but it it I think it has a material effect on us if we get up and go to some place and sit in a room with other people and watch a shared experience of other human beings telling a story on a stage. I
Yeah.
think it has some effect on it. I don't have the ability to do just thesis. This is just a theory. as you said it out loud, I was like, "Man, if we went to more shows, maybe we could help with loneliness." Like, like
I think you're onto something with that, Winston. I do.
isn't that
'Cause
kinda go ahead.
Because really with theater versus film, because I love both no matter
Mhm.
what, but with theater, it definitely feels more like at times, even when it still is like they're on stage, the actors are on stage acting and the audience is in the audience watching them, it still feels more interactive in a way.
It
And it
does.
feels more like you see, okay, you're seeing this physical human being right before your eyes performing, and whether they're performing with other people or not, it still is way different than just watching someone perform on screen that was just filmed for a scene and who knows how long it took. But the thing is that that personal connection, and also I think after seeing a show, or at least for me, it always left me with a feeling of like, okay, I feel something deeper inside that's like, if not connection, I or wanting to strive to make more connections, it leaves me with something that is like that had such a impact on me that I want to do something of impact, even if it's just a little impact or something like that. It
Yeah.
kind of feels like that.
I had a theory number 2, and I've shared this with others, is that every time you go to a theater show, regardless of whether the show was you considered it good or not good, you're like a changed person on some level every time you go and see a show.
Mhm.
Like, you're not the same person as you go in and coming out. You're not the same person. You Something's happened where you have been affected or imprinted in a way by seeing those people do the show. And so whether you may not know it, it might be slight, right? It might be like a small thing. But if you go see a lot of shows, then your life is changing every time you go and see a show.
Yeah.
That's the theory that seeing other people perform actually has a material effect on our. And this is going to sound like a really poor pun, Victoria, but it's like it has an effect on our psychology.
Yeah. It probably, I think it does. I really do believe that it does, because it's like whether the show was, even just to say whether the show was good or even if it wasn't all that good, it still leaves you with something when you walk out the theater.
Yeah, I remember once seeing a show, and this was a show here in Georgia. This had to be over 10 years or so ago, and someone was performing Hamlet on
Oh.
stage. However, they were reversing the roles, so whoever was a man was a woman, and vice versa. And I thought that was interesting, and it was such an up and close experience. It wasn't a black box, but it was a pretty small theater. Uh,
Mhm.
but when you saw them up front, it made an impact on me because I'm like, well, it's fascinating, right? I didn't go because I wanted to see this reverse role. I went because a friend was in it. So I was like, oh, this is kind of cool. And after that, to your point, it made me think about different ways of telling a story. Yeah.
Wonderful. Oh, so it was kinda like a flip show?
Hmm. Hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, you've heard of those flip shows.
I've been involved in some.
Yes, yes. That you just flip. Which one were you involved in?
I was involved in 2 for live arts theater, and one was Twelfth Night, and the other one was actually very recent, As You Like It.
Oh. Mm.
And so those experiences for me were always the funnest in my opinion, because it
Mm.
was like, okay, I am a man in this role and I have to kind of play it as that, but at the same time, I'm able to play it from just the my actor's instinct, and it comes off differently than just like, okay, I'm pretending to be a dude here kind of
That's right.
thing.
That's right. Speaking of which, and this is for you telling the audience, like when you're preparing for a role, and you say you're giving a little bit of education to the audience, tell the people about how you get prepared for the role from a rehearsal and a production perspective. How do you think about getting prepared?
It to me, first and foremost, it all depends on the role, and from so far, I can't say I have played any full-on complex roles yet,
Mhm.
but for the roles that I have played, my process was first and foremost research into the world that they're living in, research into the time period, if it's a certain time period that they're in, and also kind of research into like, okay, what is the relationship with the other characters along from with my character, and how does that play a factor into the show in its entirety? Because to me that is important because, like, once again, I'm so into storytelling.
Mhm.
It's important to me because I need to know, okay, how did we get from point A with my character to all the way to from point B to C, and they're connected with this other character that was already at point C. And kind of like
Right.
very strategizing
Mhm.
type of thing. But as far as with my acting, for preparing for my acting, I relied mostly on Stanislavski method,
Okay.
and so that has helped me out a lot, but I've also been experimenting with other methods to just see
That's
how.
awesome. See how you'll go. Yeah. So
Yeah.
what was the one that we were in together? It was called Blood something.
Oh, I I
Blood
wish I had the name right
Blood
now.
Spills or
Blood
Blood?
Spills, yes,
Yes,
that was
yes.
it.
That was, I think, by Lee Rains, and oh my gosh, I had so much fun with you on
So
that
did I.
movie, and it was a blast. You can always tell when you're in an audience and you're doing something and the audience chuckles at what you're doing because it's we would have points where we wanted them to chuckle.
Oh, yes, that we were looking for that.
And they actually did, and I thought it was great. I was so perturbed because when I got the video of it, the video audio was all messed up. And I
Yeah,
was like, "Oh, man, I would have loved to have taken that piece that you and I did and refined the audio so it was good for people to listen to."
true.
It was such a blast. The guy who wrote the piece, yes, this is probably aligned to what you're saying,
Mhm.
that if the writer digs what you're doing on stage, then you're somewhere there. You know,
Yeah,
you're on the path. I am not a fan of making theater like this complex system with many guardrails. You know, like this is good theater, this is bad theater.
no,
I'm not into that, quite frankly. I am into stories. And the stories are the thing. And then the portrayal of it is thing. Sure, there's mechanisms like you're on stage and you know about how to do this or how to do that. But I like to see it on the stage or
right.
being performed versus sending it. And do you like my story? No, let's get some good actors. Like, for example, Everyone Victoria was in a recent anthology that I wrote called The World of Lyrics, which was based off of the lyrics from 2024. And she did a phenomenal job in it. But if I'd waited for somebody to tell me the story is good or not, and not suppose like calling you and others and say, hey, can you guys help me with a reading? I wouldn't know what I got.
Mm-mm. And you did such a phenomenal job with that. I am looking forward to what more comes out of it.
Yeah, so thank you so much for that. What questions you have for me? This is a section where you get to ask me anything that's on your
Oh,
mind.
oh, I get to ask you questions?
Yes, anything that you're thinking about.
Wonderful. I didn't know I would get that privilege, but thank you.
You're so welcome.
Let's see, how about, we'll see if this is a pretty good question. So, Winston, what exactly influenced you to want to explore, not just explore more stories, but to make more stories that could be presented on stage that would, give people, like, different types of stories that are not usually the norm. Like, it's definitely not Shakespeare, it's definitely not like Ibsen or any of those, but it's a still very human stories,
Yeah.
and they all have good points and themes to them that you believe people needed to see and hear. What influenced you to want to do that?
What influenced me in the way I think about it is that you and I, every single person I've ever met, has a story to tell that's uniquely their own. And if I try to, and I'm influenced by stories, right? I'm influenced by the theater and the TV and the movies that I watch. But if I try to make my stories just based on that, then is it being all authentic?
Mm,
And what inspires me is that when my heart is tugging at me, it's like really time to get deep on the story. If I'm writing a story and I get emotional, I don't mean like emotional, like, oh wow, this is sad. I mean like for real emotional,
mhm,
and or I laugh, even if the joke is dumb, then I think I got something. I think I got something. And what inspires me mostly is that our time on this plane is limited. Right? Every single moment is limited. I don't know. I'm I am 1,000% certain that I will be here tomorrow and the next day and for many, many years beyond that. There are some people right now who are going to sleep and they may not return tomorrow. They may not awaken on this plane tomorrow. So every single story I write like I gotta make sure that people feel me or feel what I'm asking these characters to feel. And it may not be exactly what so I might want this person to say, "Oh yeah, this person is a jerk." But if they love them, then they love them.
mhm,
Like that to me is that is when I'm writing a story, Victoria, is the closest I feel to spirituality. I can read books or I can spout verses about this or that, or I can go into rooms and hear other people tell me about what I'm supposed to think about spiritually.
mm.
Uh, but when I'm writing a story, it feels like I'm getting a tap on the shoulder. Like, hey, this is this is this your spirit talking. Uh, get this out.
And that is amazing, and in a way, I too connect with that as well, Winston, I really do. It is kind of like that, um, that tapping on the shoulder or something just egging at your brain saying, "Hey, write about this.
Yeah,
Don't be trying to deter from it, write about it." But yet you hear society talk or just the world talking, and they most of the time tell you, "No, don't write about that. Write about something that's more just universal, more just, of
that's
what
right.
is appropriate."
I could tell you a fast story. I had a good friend of mine. She was preparing for a Fringe festival here. And so she had written this one woman show. Like it's going to be her performing, telling her story, a little bit about her life. So she gathers a bunch of us together, a bunch of her friends. It must have been about 5 or 6 of us. And
Mhm.
so she kind of does this thing. She kind of walks us through it. She actually does the performance, the one woman performance. I thought it was
Oh.
phenomenal. I thought, because it was really her. It was her telling the story about her life and her travels and the stuff that went well and the stuff that didn't go well. So this is before
Mhm.
the actual festival. So a bunch of people that was in the room started telling her, you should change this, or you should add that, or you should think about this. And it was so much stuff that people were trying to almost rewrite her story for her.
Mhm.
And then when I went to the actual Fringe Festival and saw the performance, it wasn't her. It was somebody else. It was like she took too many bits of input from people about her
Mhm.
own story. That wasn't her story anymore. I was like, and ever since I saw that, and to my own detriment and to my own benefit, a lot of times when I write the story, and now that I have great friends who are actors, I say, hey, can you help me with putting the story together or saying or putting it on a reading or whatever it might be, as opposed to trying to take the story. And this is not just me talking, this is for anybody who's listening to our conversation. Your story is your story. So you
It
can't have 10
is.
people telling you how to make a story. Otherwise than that, it's not your story anymore. And I know this is kind of a human thing where we're trying to we're trying to thank people, or we're trying to say, oh, I appreciate your feedback. I appreciate what you're saying. But if you try to, when people give me feedback, I'm telling you, Victoria, I want to take 5%
I
of what they're
understand
saying.
that.
Yeah. Otherwise than that, it's not my story anymore.
Exactly.
It's just not. What's upcoming for you? What's some things that's coming on down the path for you?
Well, at the moment, I am very busy auditioning for other things at the
Okay.
moment, but I have been getting into writing. I or into my writing because I have been sort of writing on the low, but now have actually been putting in the work to write some actual 10-minute plays of my own with
Oh,
themes and characters that I would personally want to write stories about. And so actually, I share one with you that I wrote?
sure.
Okay. And it's pretty much just a little synopsis, but one thing that I recently wrote, and we did like a little performance for it at the Cookies and Carols event at Live Arts.
Mhm.
It, I wrote a play called Christmas Charity, which is about a couple that move into this, it's a young couple. They move into this house that was sold to them at a very nice price, even though that house it's very much a big house. It should not be they shouldn't have been able to get it at the reasonable cost that they got it, but there was a reason why the price was so reasonable. And it turns out that there is a ghost lingering in that
Oh,
house and that they bought. And the girlfriend, she is able to hear this ghost speak to her and communicate with her. And what's interesting is that their stories kind of like sort of intertwined because of the issues that they both have gone through with figuring out how to maintain a relationship, like a romantic loving relationship with their male partners, but at the same time wanting to pursue their own purpose driven goals in a way. And so that story was
it's awesome.
yes.
You can teach me something here because I have one of the things I have never written before, and I keep telling myself I'm going to write something. Is some a story that has a horror element to it. I have
Oh,
I've never written a story in my life with a horror element in it. And
what?
maybe it's because of all the genres of things that I watch in like films or TV shows. My least favorite, and this is not saying it is poor, it's just my least favorite, has been horror. And I've seen some great horror movies, don't get me wrong. I've seen some great ones. But if you ask me to go to see a movie and it's a horror movie versus another genre of movie, I
Mm.
might say, well, what else are we watching? And that, you've probably seen it before, but some horror movies are really good, and then some are really atrocious. So,
Mhm. Very much so.
so maybe that's the inspiration. Maybe you can teach me a little bit about how to craft this or how to think about it, because I have never done it before, and I keep telling myself when I do it, it's going to be an opus because it's going to be great. But I just
Mm.
don't haven't done it yet. I don't know what. I don't know why I'm resistant to it, Victoria. I don't know why.
I I can understand. I mean, for one, horror is not everybody's choice of genre, and there are so many good genres out there to write stories in. But the thing about what's interesting to me, or what I find interesting about the horror genre and putting a story into that specific genre, is that you actually can go so many different places with it, and you can also connect it with another type of genre, which it's
Mhm.
like since Sinners came out, Nope, Us, and so many other good ones. Obsession is another one. There is some horror films that do have a element of social commentary that is not like trying to bang you upside the head, telling you, look, this is what this is about. And so you better get
Yeah,
that through to your head.
like
It's just like, it's just a simple story
like
being
Sinners.
told.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense within that genre. And so
Sinners is
I,
like a sneaky horror movie to me. Like,
yeah,
you knew there was gonna be horror in it, but it kinda, like, hit you over the head when you were watching halfway through, like, "Whoa, this is a horror movie." But it had the undercurrent and the elements of all of the things that was going on in that environment, which makes it, in my opinion, and I will say this, and it's a hot take from me, but I don't care how you feel. It's the best horror movie I've ever seen.
yeah, and I agree with that because it was like it wasn't just trying to present you with just horror aspects in
Yeah,
the film. It was presenting you with everything from the historics to the music and everything, and combining all that together, and also seeing different aspects and stories told from it that some you probably would have not even known existed in history.
it had undercurrents of things like racism, and and it was like a kind of rom-com parts of it. It was like
Yeah.
it was really an amazing film.
Yeah.
And it set a high bar for the next kind of horror movies that exist out there. But you're right, I didn't even think about the other ones like Get Out and Us and all these other ones. But I give a lot of credit for those who can do it and who do it. And so I'm so looking forward to the one that you'll be producing, because it's
Aw.
gonna be going. It's gonna be good. I'm just looking forward to it. Victoria, this has been an awesome conversation. I am so thankful for you and what you've done for us as a creative out here. I'm going to leave the last word to you, and I'm going to ask you to not talk to me, but to talk to people who are out there who may be struggling with their creativity, or they may be saying, "Oh, I'm resistant, or I'm cautious, or I'm afraid," whatever it is to them, and you're giving them a bit of advice. I would like you to talk to them for a couple of minutes.
Okay. Well, it's nice to give some helpful advice. I guess it all depends on where to start at.
Mhm.
But I will start by saying this is that if you have a creative idea, whether that is a story you want to write for a book, or a story you want to write for film, or for a theater production, don't dismiss it. Allow yourself to actually explore that idea and allow yourself to broaden the scope of that idea. Don't think, and also do not think small, because
Yeah,
some people would tell you that, and it's amazing how many people will tell you to think small, and it's like, no, don't do that, but also have a clear vision for where you want your story to go and how you want it to end as well, because sometimes people get lost in just the starting direction, that they don't know where they want to end it. And so I encourage you, go forward with that idea. And even when it seems like it gets tough or it gets scary, just embrace it. See it as like a, how can I say, if not like a hurdle, just a hill that you have to get past to move to the next hill that you got to go to. I I fully encourage you to go for it, and don't allow fear, don't allow anyone to stop you or tell you that it's not worth the try.
that is so awesome. Thank you so much, Victoria. I am sharing with our audience here your page from this website,
Aw.
mandy.com. And
Oh,
but I wanted to leave it to you if there's anything you wanted to share with the audience about how they can contact you.
okay. If you ever want to contact me, I would say reach out to me personally through my email, which is Victoria, all lowercase, underscore Allen, which is also all lowercase, 01 at yahoo.com. That is the best way to reach me. And I was going to save my number, but I will just leave it at my email.
That's awesome. This is a great conversation, Victoria. I'm hopeful that you will join us again on the Courageous Creativity Show.
Oh, of course. I'd be more than happy to. And thank you so much for inviting me onto your show. This was awesome.
You are so welcome. For those of you who are out there, I know you're saying to yourself, it's easy to be courageous and it's easy to be creative. No, it's not. Not in these
Mm-mm.
days. Every single one of us, we look in our mailbox, we look in our email box, we go to work, we whatever it is, and there are things that are impediments, things that are barriers for us being our full selves. And one
Mm.
of those things is our creativity. So take a moment every single day, whatever that moment is for you, 30 seconds, 30 minutes, whatever that is, to pour into yourself. You deserve it.
Yes.
So if it's learning how to be a better actor, if it's writing a story, if it's building an app, whatever it is that's your creative bent, please do it. This world is too short for you and I and all of us to waste the talents that we've been given on other things. This is the Courageous Creativity Show. I'm so honored that this is on. I said 8 years, I think earlier. This is when I looked at it, it's like this is our almost ninth year of this
Oh, that's
show. And we've
wonderful.
been listening to many, many wonderful people all over this planet. Please pour into us. If you want to be part of the Rise and Ties charity, please go and check it out via the website, winstonawilson.com. You can get more information there. We would love that. We're looking for people who want to be actually active board members. And our board is different than other boards. Our board is not just only about how do we gain funds or how do we do this. It's about how do we find more of you. How do we find more of you? Because there's so many people of the 8 billion of us that are out there that have a story to tell. And our goal is to do that. Victoria, this has been such a phenomenal conversation. I so thank you. I know you and I are going to connect again on many, many some acting things here in the age
Oh,
at
yes.
some point. So, those of you who are out there, thank you so much for joining us, and thank you so much for listening to this wonderful conversation. We will talk to you all very soon.